UFC is maybe bringing back Francis Ngannou. I don't think so. Dana doesn't seem to really like him, but John Jones wants to fight Francis Ngannou all of a sudden. He had the opportunity to 3 years ago and he didn't do it. So why does he want to fight him now? Let's see what this article says. UFC has told PFL can't afford not to negotiate Francis Ngannou's return amid John Jones talk. Talk of Francis Ngannou returning to the UFC has returned to the surface as John Jones' next step continues to be uncertain. Ngannou left the UFC as heavyweight champion in early 2023 following a lengthy contractual dispute. The Predator ultimately found himself under the PFL banner, where he's had the freedom to pursue his boxing ambitions in 2 high-profile bouts against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. In terms of MMA, the Cameroonian has competed just once since exiting the UFC. Ngannou dominated Renan Ferreira in his PFL debut, but it remains unclear when he'll return to the cage. The current topic of discussion is whether that return could come under the UFC banner. After coach Eric Nixtick expressed a desire to see a man back in the octagon, Jones reignited talks of fighting Ngannou on social media. And although that remains a far-off prospect, the UFC has been told one thing that could facilitate a Ngannou comeback. Let's see what John Jones has to say. I'm hearing Francis Ngannou is still interested, and now we're talking. That's a real super fight, a clash of champions, not just hype. He held the UFC belt. I've defended mine for over a decade. 2 kings from different roads, not just one legend facing a mouth that's hot right now. Well, I don't want to read the whole thing. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. John Jones, you're annoying. Ex-Bellator analyst tells UFC that PFL would have to entertain a trade for Francis Ngannou. The UFC famously acquired Ben Askren in a trade from one championship that saw legendary flyweight Demetrius Johnson go the other way to the Asian organization. A trade of that kind hasn't been since, but the former fighter and Bellator analyst Josh Thompson sees an opportunity for that to change with Ngannou involved. During a recent episode of his Weighing In podcast, The Punk claimed that PFL can no longer afford to have the inactive Cameroonian heavyweight under contract. With that in mind, he thinks that the promotion could be swayed to let Ngannou go should the UFC offer up a few of its own fighters in exchange. The only way it would have been a waste of time is it wouldn't be a waste of time is if there's a trade. PFL can't afford Francis anymore. Like, who we're gonna have you fight? Nemkov, that's the only guy, but there's nobody else for you to fight. So move on, go back and fight John. Yeah, watch this. He would go back, and then John Jones wouldn't fight. Although Ngannou and Tom Aspinall, I'm down. The UFC needs it. The PFL could use a couple other fighters to add to their tournaments, Thompson said. Make the trade whatever it is. With Francis, you could definitely send him off. Why am I, PFL, going to pay him $4 million or whatever it is, plus pay his opponent $2 million? You guys are not getting the views right now. You're just hemorrhaging money. So that's them talking about it with Big John McCarthy. Dana White stays firm on Tom Aspinall, or no one stands for John Jones' UFC return. So this is just him talking from Saturday night about John Jones' reaction. So with this, what do you think? Do you think that they should make a trade for a couple UFC fighters and for Francis Ngannou? I don't. I could see it happening. I just don't see who they would trade. They're not going to trade their young talent that's doing amazing right now, like Joshua Van. They're not going to trade somebody like him. They're not going to trade an old timer like Henry Cejudo. He's like Henry Cejudo is still a decent chunk of a name. He'd get paid more at PFL, but that wouldn't change the fact of what they're already doing. They'd have to trade a couple big names from UFC to Francis Ngannou, and I think it would just even themselves out. But, I mean, who knows? It's happened once. It could happen again. What do you guys think? Do you think they should make a trade for Francis Ngannou to go back to UFC to fight John Jones? Do you think if he did, he would even fight John Jones? I think John Jones would still retire, and then they would get Francis Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall, which at that point, hey, man, let's just get it going. Whatever's going to get the heavyweight division going, let's go with it. Again, go ahead, let me know your thoughts and your opinions down below.